It's time for the Court Report, our bi-weekly segment with the Upper Midwest Law Center. They are a nonprofit public interest law firm on the front lines, dedicated to defending constitutional freedoms and the rule of law.
Love having Doug on. Doug Seaton, he's the guy at Upper Midwest Law Center. Doug, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well, Al. Glad to be with you.
I saw this story come out from the Supreme Court, I guess it would have been late last week, was stunned by it. By the time I get down to the end of the story, I find out Upper Midwest Law Center's in on this bad boy. I could not wait to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
Basically, we're talking about our Supreme Court, and if you don't mind me playing lawyer for a second, I'll put out this way, you tell me how wrong I am. Minnesota Supreme Court comes out last week and says that this weightlifting firm that was having their workout facility was having a weightlifting championship, men's division, women's division, and a guy wanted to play in the women's division. They said no. Well, it goes all the way to the Supreme Court, which is just crazy to me, by the way. But it goes all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court kicks it back. And this is how I understand it, because they're going to have to show that the workout facility somehow had a business reason to do this, because otherwise it goes against our rules. And this is my lawyer being here. I believe what they're talking about is in 2022, 2023, when the Democrats had everything, they reworked our discrimination code. You know, race, creed, color, religion were all have been the standard bearers for forever. Then they threw in a two-word sexual orientation, or is it gender identity? One of those two words. They threw that in, and now I'm looking at the Supreme Court saying, wait, they really did just judge on the law as they read it now, which wasn't the law 4 years ago. How far off am I? The Supreme Court probably did what they had to do, but this law's got to get fixed, right?
That's certainly my view, Al. Yes. The Supreme Court is, I think, mistaken. We respect the court. This is the last call until there is a change in the law. But this is based on a change, as you pointed out, that's very controversial now, that essentially elevates transgender rights and the rights of anybody claiming to be identified as whatever they identify as. Mm-hmm. Cats will be next, maybe. It has got a right to be essentially trumping the rights of women that are, that have been in the statute since the beginning, both federal and state statutes. Our view is that's not right. And we think the whole transgender thing is mistaken at its core. These are confused folks who need help. And this is not really a category like the immutable categories of gender, race, et cetera, ethnic background. And it does not deserve the level of protection that it has, in my judgment. Now, the appeals court in Minnesota decided one case that said, oh, yes, they do. It's never really got to the Supreme Court for decision. And they, as you noted, they've kind of ducked it here and said, well, maybe there's a reason this is okay. We don't see it. We're going to kick it back to the district court. But what we did was represent Peyton McNabb. Many will recall that name. She's the woman volleyball player who got spiked in the head and seriously injured by a male volleyball player pretending to be a woman. We don't think that's right. We think it's got to be changed. We represented her on the side of the people representing the powerlifting group. And that's one of the sports bodies that had the backbone to say, nope, we're going to continue to respect our gender categories, male and female, time immortal, and we're going to stick with those and say no to this transgender athlete claiming to be a woman to participate in the women's field. Nope, he can't do it. We believe they're right. The court has kicked it down again. We'll see where it goes. But there is an underlying conflict between what the state and the federal government are saying about the meaning of the discrimination statutes. That will play its way out. And we believe ultimately women will have the protection they deserve in these sports bodies, locker rooms, everywhere else.
Well, as they kicked it down, again, I'm no lawyer, but as it said, they need to have a good business reason why the discrimination. And I'm not a brilliant mind like you and your staff, but the reason we have, besides the categories of male and female, they have weight categories. I would liken it to this. Are you saying that if I'm the heavyweight boxer, Muhammad Ali, I'm getting really tired of getting hit by other really big men, they're beating me up, I don't like it, I can declare myself, I don't know, I'm a featherweight, because I just don't feel comfortable up there. I want to do this. You will abolish sports. I mean, the sports as we know it, right? Heavyweight wrestlers and lightweight. I don't want to beat up other big guys. I'll be a middleweight wrestler. You know what I'm saying? and then the business part of it is let me ramble.
Yes.
So if I'm in business as U.S. Powerlifting, I have a males division, a females division. I create the females division so that they have the ability to participate and have some fun and possibly win. If you say I can't have that, I will lose half of my business. The ladies are going to say, well, I'm going to go against the biggest of the men. I can't win. He loses half his business. I don't know who runs U.S. Powerlifting. Am I wrong? I mean, this isn't a hard business decision. They did it because it was good for business.
Yes, they did, at least in part. And the additional feature is there's a safety reason. They certainly have the right to consider the safety aspect of this in making these judgments as well. And maybe that's what the court is hinting at. Well, come back and hide the real issue here and just tell us it's all about safety and business, and maybe we'll find a way to say you can keep doing this. That may be the invitation the court is making. Sometimes that happens between the lines. And certainly they may do that. Now, we didn't represent powerlifting itself, but more power to them. We were glad to come with our amicus brief and support them with other women athletes like Peyton McNabb. And we're going to keep finding ways to fight this fight because it's a very important fight. And it's especially important at the high school level, of course, where we're also looking for cases we can bring forward. So if any listener has got a daughter, a wife involved in athletics who is facing the same kinds of silliness, we're happy to represent them. We'll investigate. We'll look into the possibility of bringing a case because these are wrong decisions, and we respect the poor people who've got this psychological condition, don't want to identify with their biological sex, but we don't think that's a problem the whole world has to turn on its face to address.
Does the Supreme Court have an obligation to, I guess maybe you shouldn't talk for them, but I'm going to put you in a box. Is it them to come out and say gender identity, the quote unquote category, doesn't work in this law, or is it them to say, well, it's in the law, I can't change that, but you can wiggle around it if you say it's best business practices or what, however that would go. Yeah, isn't not their job, or can they come around and say, hey, House and Senate, get rid of this, it doesn't work?
Well, there are times when they certainly do say things at least close to that. That's what happened in our Omnibus Tax Act case, where the court said this is wrong, legislature, you got to fix it. Don't pass laws with 1,400 pages and a million subjects again, and we're hoping we get that whole thing ultimately thrown out, as you know. So they do sometimes talk directly to the legislature. That's usually when they've got a clear constitutional issue that they are the ones to opine about and decide. In this case, what the court will say is, well, we're only going to look at the case presented to us with the parties in their position presenting to us, and with the evidence we've got, that's all we can deal with. They don't make what they will call hypothetical opinions. They have to address a case, and that's part of what lets them avoid maybe a decision on the actual underlying issue from time to time. That's how a layperson might see it.
I love that. Okay, I've got to go to break, Doug. Doug Seaton with the Upper Midwest Law Center. If you're in this battle in your own life, a daughter, a wife, someone is battling this, they'd love to hear from you. Go to Upper Midwest Law Center, UMLC.org. And they've got the contact there. Go there and get the process started. They'd like to talk to you. Back after this, what? Discrimination? K through 12? Still possible in 2025? We talk about it next.
Are you tired of government overreach and the constant threat to your constitutional rights? The Upper Midwest Law Center is your legal sword and shield. We're a nonprofit law firm fighting every day to defend free speech, religious liberty, and the rule of law. We secure landmark victories that restore school neutrality, protect property rights, and hold government accountable. Our mission is to ensure liberty endures for all Minnesotans. So if you or your business is facing a constitutional violation, we want to hear from you. Learn more and support our work at umlc.org.
You need a friend at the Capitol who knows how to get things done.
And you're in luck, because that's exactly who we are, your friends at the Capitol, and we deliver results.
At Momentum Advocacy, we bring decades of experience in lobbying, public affairs, and crisis communications.
From local nonprofits to national corporations, we help you move policy, manage your media, and make your voice heard.
We're not just seasoned pros, we're essential partners.
Momentum Advocacy, your friends at the Capitol. Learn more at momentum-advocacy.com.
as in alligator. L also in alligator. But it's not alligator. It's the Al Travis Show.
And we've got him, the Upper Midwest Law Center, Doug Seaton in with the court report. People, before you hear this next one, put your seatbelts on. This is cray-cray to me, sir. Minnesota Department of Human Rights, they're all about this new settlement they've got. You guys are against it, and it's how we discipline kids in K through 12. There's as far as a numbers ratio, 33% or this nationality, 33% or this or 50 or that, whatever. You have to discipline them by their race? That can't possibly be how we're doing. That sounds racist on its own.
It sure does to us, Al. I think you hit it on the head. Yeah, I wrote a letter to the editor at the Star Tribune, and we put it on our website. I think you saw it there.
Yep.
And we congratulated them on a couple of settlements they had, which are sort of everyday bread and butter settlements in terms of sex discrimination. But I went on to say in the letter, but they got a lot of egg on their face because they are the ones who are promoting discrimination and racism in the public schools. And they've been doing it for years. They sent a letter to many school districts demanding, K-12 school districts, demanding that they essentially proportionalize their discipline by race. And, you know, the fact of the matter is, and it's an unfortunate fact, but it's true, that there are often in some school districts many more Black or Indian offenders than there are white or Asian. And they've said, oh, no, you can't discipline that extra quota, of Black or Asian kids who are misbehaving. You can't do that. So the school districts are forced to paralyze their whole discipline program. We're not going to discipline anybody. That's one reaction. Or we're going to discipline only the offenders within these ratios so that lots of offenders get off the hook for discipline, even though they should be punished. And I pointed out that a Black school teacher in St. Paul, Aaron Bender, fought them on this and said, this isn't good for anybody. It's not good for Black kids either. And he got fired for it because he said it's wrong to do this sexual or racial differentiation in discipline. And he's right. And I'm right. You're right. This is just plain wrong. But the commissioner of the Department of Human Rights, Lucero, has been promoting this. She brags about it in public meetings. I've called her out on it more than once and said, this is wrong. You can't do this. It's a violation of equal justice under law, right up there on the U.S. Supreme Court pediment. And we don't get anywhere on that. So I think this is something that people in their voting have got to take notice of. What's going on in this department? How can we fix it? And it does have to be fixed, I believe. I don't think that's consistent with law at all. Not at all. Not even state law.
Well, voting's one way, but let me ask you this. So I've got a kid in the school district, and it's just hypothetical. My child is getting disciplined for whatever act, whatever this thing is. But he looks across the hall and says, oh, this guy did the exact same thing, but is of different nationality, different race from me, but didn't get punished because they'd already punished enough of those people by the end of this month. They had to even it out. That is completely, I mean, how is it not, whatever the offense is, whoever's doing the offense, this is the punishment, and let the numbers fall where they fall? It seems so racist I'm not a bright man.
It is racist, and it's discrimination, and it's a violation of discrimination law and the Constitution. You can't do this. And we are looking for parents, students who have faced this kind of problem, and we want to represent them. It's difficult because the kids and the parents are faced with a lot of brickbats when they stand up on these things. You know that the schools are tough places, and so if you're going to stand up, put your hand up. You have to be ready for some brickbats, I'm afraid. Not literally, let's hope.
Yeah, no. But you're literally asking a parent to say, yeah, my son or daughter did something X, and they were treated one way, someone's not. I have to throw out there to the world, yeah, my kid did this thing. I'm not too happy about it. However, this is a tough one I could see to get people to stand up. Yeah. But if you're for kids and equal justice, you got to stand up here. This is something you got to do. We certainly would love to explore it with people. It'll be confidential, attorney-client privilege protected, even to have a phone call. And we'll talk about it with people or get their information. But, it is tough because parents are in that position you just described. Kids don't want to stand out. Yeah.
The kids are going through the schools. By the time they think about this, they're about to graduate. So it's tough to get this case teed up. We'd love to do it. So please, if you are in this position, help us. Somebody's got to stand up or you can't fix these things.
Upper Midwest Law Center. It's UMLC.org. Before I let you go, you got another one. I don't know how many you got under your belt now, but I saw another attorney, this Rachel Pelosi. Tell me about her. What are you thinking about her? Is she good? She's real good, I bet.
She sure is. She's terrific. We now are 6 lawyers with staff and board behind us. And we're making a difference, as you know, Al. We've got now these 6 lawyers in court. We had 2 of them, 2 arguments in the federal 8th Circuit Court last week on election law issues. Rachel is fabulous because she served as U.S. attorney in the a few years ago in Minneapolis and is now back in private practice, we call it, with our nonprofit. And we're very excited to have her. You know the score here. We've got people who could be doing a lot of other things and adding another 0 to their salary somewhere else.
Yeah.
And instead, they're willing to fight this fight for all of us. We hope people will support us in doing it.
Well, that's kind of the thing, and how I love that you guys came on the program and did this, because every story, like say this one with the women in sports or men and women's sports, the powerlifting thing, I'm reading this going, there's no way. I got to talk to Doug about it. And then I find out you're in on this bad boy. You're already all there. You guys are in the front line of all. I don't care what comes up. You guys are on the front line of it. God bless you guys for doing that work, because, again, it's not always easy to find those cases that you think you can take and win. Is one enough? And then you got to get great lawyers like her who will take a pay cut to do what they feel is right in the world. That's a good group of folks you got, Doug. Good group.
We're excited to have them. And what we think we can offer, obviously, we can make a difference in the courts. Elections are only once or twice a year, but we're in those courts every single day, winning those cases against police defunding, the shutdown of the churches, on and on and on we can go. And this legislative battle on the Omnibus Tax Act, where the force the legislature back in its lane under the Constitution. And we can do that. So we tell people, look, you may not be able to raise your head above the trench line wherever you are in the school or workplace, but you can send us $1 or $2, and believe me, we will be there fighting for you. We're not answering to anybody but our clients and our supporters.
And how long have you been doing this, Doug? This isn't your first race.
7 years now, Al.
That's
Thank
fantastic.
you for asking. Over the hump, we think. We're here to stay now. We're here to stay.
UMLC.org. Go to the donate button if that's the least you can do. And if you have any of these items that you think, hey, that makes sense to me, there's a connect button. Fill it in there. Like say, that's all personal and between you and the lawyers. Doug, thank you for coming to the show. You know I love having you on.
Thank you, Al. Glad to be here. You have a good day yourself.
Back with more.
That's the Court Report with the Upper Midwest Law Center, with some insights into their mission to defend liberty and the rule of law. For more information on the cases and issues we discussed today, and to learn how you can support their fight, visit umlc.org. We'll see you in 2 weeks.